Today is Friday. I was about to say February the 5th. It's not February, it's March. Yeah. Definitely, I need a break. I plan on sleeping tomorrow. And let me tell you, okay. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my daily thought. But before I go into my daily thought, there's like some other things I want to talk about before I even go into that. So I woke up this morning, and I woke up an hour earlier than I usually wake up. Because usually I'm up by like 6. For those who follow my show, the podcast, you know that I'm usually up by 6. I woke up at 5 this morning. And if you've been following my podcast since the beginning, you know I usually have my TV playing. Like I sleep on and off throughout the night. And when I wake up, I'll wake up for like literally maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'm right back to sleep. But in that 3 to 5 minutes while I'm up, I'm just sifting through my video collection to find a movie to put on as I go back to sleep, because I don't like to sleep in silence, because my mind doesn't stop thinking. And when I'm in silence, it's like everything, I'm processing all of this stuff all at once. And it's one of those things where, one second, I'm replying to a message. It's one of those things where I don't want to say I'll go crazy, because I mean, could I sleep without my movies on? Obviously, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I don't know if that's a pun or not, because we're talking about the mind. But it's very uncomfortable for me to sleep without something playing in the background. So I woke up a few, an hour and some change prior to 5 a.m. And I put on a movie, which is one of my favorite movies. Well, I woke up just as the movie was ending. It was like the last 20 minutes of the movie, maybe 25 minutes of the movie. And it's one of my favorite parts. And I'm like, I need to go back to sleep and get this extra hour is what I need to do. But I didn't do that. I was just like, okay, let me go ahead and watch this. Like the movie's going somewhere. I own the movie. And I'm watching it like it's not going to come back on, or like I don't have access to it again. I do some stupid things sometimes, but that's just, that's life or whatever. Some things we do, it's like, did I really do that? Yes, I did. So I've been up since 5 this morning, and it was, woo! It was the first few hours, like once I started moving, maybe the first 2 hours into the day, it was okay. But then later on, it started to drag a little bit. Now, I guess the adrenaline is kicked in. But tonight, I'm going to sleep good. I am going to sleep so good. And I plan on sleeping in tomorrow. Crazy thing is that I was planning on going to Malibu tomorrow. But I looked at the weather. That's the other thing. So it's 80 degrees in Los Angeles today, where I'm at. And I was like, it's 80 degrees today. It should be 80 degrees, or at least 70 degrees, something like that for Saturday and Sunday. So I look at the weather, and the temperature just goes down for the forecast or whatever. It could change, because obviously weather is subject to change. And it just went down, and I'm like, I'm not going to Malibu with this. So yeah, more than likely, I was planning on going either Saturday night or Sunday afternoon to Malibu just to clear my head, because I always, anytime I'm kind of in my head, if I go to Malibu, it always calms me down because I'm right by the ocean and everything like that. And I just like the vibe over there. I do. So that is where I'm at on that. Something else happened today too that I meant to talk about besides, now I know what it was. So this is the other thing I meant to tell you. I know some people are like, are you going to get to the daily thought? Yes, I'm going to get to the daily thought. It's just I got to get some of the stuff off my chest. This is one of those days where I got to get stuff off my chest. If you've been following my show, you know I tell side stories sometimes. This is one of those days where I'm telling side stories. Okay, so let me tell you, be careful what you say. You can speak stuff into existence and the universe will be like, okay, I hear you. Where it's like you're saying it, but you're not fully ready to make the leap yet. It's like it's on your mind and you said it out loud, but you're not fully ready to make the leap. And now that you've said it out loud, the universe is like, oh, okay, I hear you. That's what you want? Let's make that happen. The universe got jokes. God has jokes. So what had happened was my phone, because it's this phone right here, my Sony Xperia, which I love this phone. I actually bought this phone unlocked because T-Mobile doesn't sell these anymore. And I bought it unlocked. I had this thing for years. And not too long ago, I was talking to T-Mobile because I had to call in about this phone. I have 3 phones. This phone, which is my LG Velvet. And because the text messages, the stuff wasn't working right and all this other stuff. And I was like, da. And then as we were talking about the Sony Xperia, and I was running the test on the other phone and whatever, he was like, oh, do you want to upgrade? And I was like, well, not today, but yeah, I'm getting to that point where I've had my Sony Xperia for a few years now. And I'm probably going to go ahead and get rid of it and get me a new phone. It's like, I don't need anything fancy. It's just a new phone. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he had sent me all the stuff. And he's like, don't forget, you can go online and do this and do that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I leave that conversation alone. And then, not even a week later, it hasn't even been a week yet, my Sony Xperia starts acting funny. I'm like, why is this phone acting like this? Come to find out, the phone isn't taking a charge because of the cord. And I'm just like, But when I was dealing with it, I was thinking it was the phone itself, like the internal part of the phone where you plug in the cord. That's where I was thinking the issue was at. I didn't run further tests. I didn't do the tier 2 technical support. I did tier 1. For those people who used to work at T-Mobile, you get the inside joke. So after the phone wasn't taking a charge with me plugging it in, and I'm thinking it's internal within the phone, I'm just like, okay, fine. I'm going to go ahead and buy another phone. So I go online this morning and I buy an old Motorola because Motorola's pretty cool with me. I got the Motorola, it's the G something or whatever. It's real cheap. Because like I said, between us, this is my, I don't want to call it this is my black book phone, is what this phone is. Let's keep it family friendly. Anything dealing with the black book is in this phone. And for those of you who are adults, you know what the black book is. You pick up the black book when you have things that need to be handled. That's what this phone is for. Never mix your personal and your family and business and all that other stuff. That's why I have all these different phones, because I don't want to mix all this stuff up. So this is my black book phone. God be an eraser if this phone is ever lost. But I digress. So I go online and I order the Motorola phone. Then, right after I order the Motorola phone, probably like an hour later, I'm still playing with this cord because it's getting on my nerves, because I'm like, oh, I love this phone. But, you know, it is what it is. Something says to me, hey, you know this is a Sony phone. You have a PS4. Why don't you take the cord that's connected to the PS4 controller, hook that up to the adapter of the phone, see if you can plug that into the phone and see if it takes a charge? How about that charges the phone? So I took the cord off the PS4 and then hooked the cord to the adapter, part of the phone that you would plug into the wall. And then I just plugged it into the phone. And then it started charging. And now the phone's fully charged. But I've already ordered the new phone to replace it. Yeah. I could cancel the order because it hasn't fully went through yet. It takes like 2 days to process. But at the same time, I was planning on upgrading. I said, and the universe heard me, that yeah, I plan on getting me another phone. Because I want one. Because I've had this for a while. The universe heard me. And here we are. So yeah, my new phone should be here next week to replace my Xperia. That the only thing that was wrong with it was the actual cord of the adapter and not the phone itself. But again, it's a newer phone. It's not new. The Motorola G, whatever you call it, isn't new, but it's newer than what I already have. So, yep, I said I wanted to get a new phone. And sure enough, things happened that once those dominoes started falling, that was it. Now, I guess I can go ahead and get into my daily thought and do that. And as a matter of fact, let me take a piece of that and use that in my daily thought. There is a word, which I'm sure you've seen if you clicked on this podcast title, which is blame. I could blame everything under the moon when it comes to me replacing this phone. I could blame myself for not doing the extra technical support that was required to see that, oh, I should have done some more research. And then it would have been like, oh, well, I could have held out a few more months until I bought a new phone. I could have blamed the universe, which all of this as I'm talking about the universe, obviously I take it seriously, but it's still in jest. It's a joke. Because I know it's a joke. I know the universe it's a joke on the universe's end, is how I look at it. On the universe, God, Goddess, the source, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it. I look at it as a joke on the universe's end that was played on me. And it's funny. But at the same time, I'm not like, oh, well, it's the universe's fault. Da, da, da. No, I'm not in that energy. I think this is hilarious, is what I think. And for blaming myself for not doing it, as I mentioned before, yeah, I could do that. But what for? What's the point of blaming the universe? Oh, it's the universe's fault. The universe always costing me money, doing this, doing that, da da da. Or either it's my fault. I should have done this. I should have done that. Da 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 da. I just cost myself more money. Whatever, 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 whatever. And looking at it from that perspective, which is one might say a glass half full perspective or a negative perspective, when I could just use that same energy and laugh it off, because it is funny. That is why I'm bringing up this blame. I feel people to blame is easy. It's easy to say, oh, well, this is the reason. Instead of, who said the finger has to be pointed at something? Why can't things just exist? Do you know what I mean? Why can't things just exist? Why can't it just be, okay, this was the situation, and that's it. And then you move on, and you don't really put energy into it anymore. You don't bring that negativity into your space. There are a lot of things that will happen to people over their lifetime, because life is exactly that, life. In life, you have to grow. As I mentioned before, comfort and growth are not friends. So things are going to happen over people's lifetimes where they can blame someone, and it may be easier to blame someone or something or whatever. But also at the same time, life is short. I mean, let's say you get the max. I think the max might be 100, and I forgot who the oldest person on the planet is right now. I want to say 112, 117, something like that. But let's say you get the max. Those 100 and some odd years will go by super duper fast. If you talk to somebody in their 80s or their 90s or in their hundreds, they may seem old, but to them, I bet you, they'll feel like they blinked and they felt like they were 15 the other day, then all of a sudden they're 100 years old or 102 years old now. In the sense of how the mind processes things. I talk to people, as a matter of fact, I was texting one of my friends earlier because he had sent me a text and I replied back. And when I met him, he was 17 years old. But now he's 28. And it feels like it just happened in the blink of an eye. It doesn't feel like it's been 11 years. They just flew by. Life, in the sense of how the mind processes time, is short. why spend it looking to blame someone? That's my thing. So I look at people and I wish they wouldn't go to the default where it's like, okay, what can I blame? Who can I blame? How fast can I blame them? And especially blaming yourself, and we're all guilty of this. We can be tough on ourselves sometimes. I always tell people, no one will ever be tougher on me than me. Just like I tell people, I don't compete against anyone. The only person I compete against is myself. And when I'm competing against myself, if I do something that I feel falls below what I expect, and I feel, okay, you didn't deliver on this or you didn't deliver on that, as I'm saying that to myself, where I'm taking the blame, sometimes I can be really, really harsh with myself. And I feel other people can be harsh with themselves too when they blame themselves, when things happen in their life, whether it's in a relationship with romantic or family or work or whatever. They're always replaying things and trying to figure out what they could have done differently, how they could have fixed it, and saying they're the reason for whatever went wrong. Or if they're blaming someone else, they're saying that person's the reason for whatever went wrong. When really, why not just let things be? Sometimes, why does blame have to be something that's assigned? Why does it have to be assigned? Why can't people just move on from a situation and do better the next time? That's how I look at it. It's almost like it's with the apology things. For those who may be new to the podcast, I cannot stand apologies. When someone apologizes, I cringe inside because apologies don't fix anything. The issue is still the issue. The best thing that can be done is do better next time, pull it together, and move on. And that's how I kind of feel about blame, too, where it doesn't fix the issue. What does blame fix? Yeah, okay, you've assigned it to someone, or you've assigned it to yourself. Okay, you're blaming yourself. What does that fix? You can say, okay, well, you're holding someone accountable for whatever when it comes to accountability. But when it comes to blame, you have to remember that blame is just like beauty, the bees, subjective. It's in the mind of the person who is making the determination. And what someone sees may be something totally different from what the other person sees, too. There are so many things that play a role when it comes to blame. Now, if someone is, I'll just use an example, late for work. If someone's late for work and they are held accountable for that, it isn't a thing of, okay, well, I'm blaming this person. They were late for work, so this didn't go right, this didn't go right, this didn't go right. Okay, no, 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 no. They were late for work. All right, did that go outside of the rules? Okay, it went outside of the rules. Follow the rules, pull it together, and move on. There's no need to place blame. Accountability can still be maintained without being stuck in the blame game. It's almost like if someone runs a red light. Okay, ticket. The police officer giving the ticket couldn't go down this road. I mean, they could, of saying, well, because I was stuck giving this person this ticket, it made me late to whatever thing that was going on that I was called to. If I wasn't giving that person the ticket, da 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 da, or whatever. No. Accountability and blame are different things. I feel like blame is something, just like I always tell people, judging and having an opinion is a different thing, even though opinion is in the word judge or in the definition of judge, but they're still different things. I feel blame is where you are assigning something to an individual or a thing in as an excuse for whatever dominoes may have been affected. With accountability, I feel accountability is in that moment where there's usually things in place to hold people accountable. Or if there isn't anything in place to hold people accountable, you can still say, hey, you might want to rethink doing this next time. Or hey, you might want to come to work on time next time. Or try to get here like right at the time or a little bit earlier. If there isn't anything where they can get a verbal warning or a written warning or what have you. But I just feel that blame, that is something that is in, I don't want to say a darker place, but it's more in a heavier negative place. As if you want to assign and hang that on someone and hold on to that energy and connect it to all this other stuff that it shouldn't be connected to. Where when something happens, just pull it together and move on. Let it be. Things don't always have to be assigned. It just doesn't. But that's my daily thought. I know this was kind of long because obviously I was telling the side stories and everything. But yeah, this is just more of an episode to say, be a little bit easier on yourself and don't reach when it comes to things that happen that you may feel are your fault, that all of the other stuff surrounding it may not have anything to do with that little thing that you did. There are so many things going on behind the scenes that you may not even be aware of, where whether the situation happened or not with you, all of the other stuff may have possibly happened anyway, especially if the universe wanted it to happen. If the universe wants something to happen, it's going to happen. There isn't anything in the world you can do about it. There isn't anything in the world I can do about it. It is what it is. We cannot override the universe. It's just we do not have veto power. Wish we did sometimes, but we don't. So yeah, don't be so tough on yourself when it comes to blaming yourself for something, especially some things that aren't even your fault. And again, even if it is something that's your fault, don't stay in that energy. And don't stay constantly blaming someone over a multiple year period. Well, they did this to me when I was a child, and this is why my life didn't turn out the way it could have turned out, and da 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 da. No, don't stay in that energy. Just pull it together and move on. No need to blame, because blaming it won't accomplish anything. You can vent, yeah, but it's not accomplishing anything. Nothing will be accomplished until you take the power into your hands and go and pursue your goals. Again, it's easy to just sit back, not do anything, and blame this and that. That's easy. It's hard to get up and go and pursue whatever you need to pursue, or to level out what was thrown off due to whatever incidents that are affiliated with the things or the people that you want to blame. Again, it's easy to sit back and point fingers at this, and that. It's hard to stand up and say, I'm going to run my race. I don't care what happened to me or what they did to me or what this company did to me or whatever. I'm going to run my race. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to level it out. I don't have time to blame them. That's in the past. That's on them. That's their karma. So that's all I got for my daily thought. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. Also, this podcast is on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Verbal, and many others. KIRWKC on social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, or Twitter, Facebook.com/KIRWKC, of course, Instagram. So yeah, thank you to everyone for your support. Until next time. Oh yeah, this weekend, I'm hoping to do it tomorrow, even though I'm looking to sleep in late. But I'm hoping to do it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Sunday. Sports weekend. It's a sports weekend, so I'll be doing sports stories is what I'll be doing. And then the following weekend, I'll be doing the mid-month energy readings for the tarot cards. And I already picked out my decks that I want to use, which there's some decks I haven't used before. So anyways, I'm going to get going. Until next time, be blessed.